Hello, this is J. Mike Perkins, and welcome to Reviews from the Bad Movie Channel, where I take a serious look at some seriously bad films that were made to be taken seriously. And on this episode, Flesh Feast, the incredible and rarely discussed final film of Hollywood legend Veronica Lake. She plays a mad scientist that uses stolen body parts to breed special flesh-eating maggots to rejuvenate Hitler so he can take over South America and then presumably the world. The story behind this film is just incredible. I'm going to cover it in 4 sections: background, director and cast, plot, summary, and finally 5 reasons why this film is bad. I've put a link to the entire film in the description of this video, and if you enjoy this, please help my channel by hitting like and subscribe. The story of Flesh Feast starts around 1966 to 1967, when bad film legend Brad F. Grinter meets Hollywood acting legend Veronica Lake. They both live in Miami, and they're introduced by their mutual friend, actress Yanka Mann. Grinter was a Florida-based actor. He was a nudist. He was an oddball, but he wanted to become a director, thought he could come up with the money, and saw the opportunity of directing someone like Lake as a big break. So he immediately contacts her and says, "Let's make a movie." Lake moved back to Miami in 1966. She had lived there previously before moving to Los Angeles. She was always looking for acting work, but at the time, to make ends meet, she was allegedly working in a factory that had something to do with gluing plastic flowers to clothing. Miami was actually not a bad place for Lake to be to look for acting work, because there was a long history of making movies in Florida. And most of these films were smaller independent type productions with unknown cast members, and those were the exact types of films that would hire an older actor or actress simply for their name recognition. Some people will claim that, Veronica Lake must have just done Flesh Feast in an afternoon for a paycheck or something. But nothing could be farther from the truth. Flesh Feast is Veronica Lake's movie. She is credited as producer, and according to interviews that she gave at the time, Grinter, being a first-time director, had no clue what he was doing, and Lake said that she actually directed most of the film. It was shot in Miami around 1967, but it wasn't released until 1970 because Grinter ran into problems in post-production and he ran out of money. Lake really wanted this film to come out. And in 1969, she got some money from publishing her autobiography, and she invested some portion of that to get Flesh Feast finished and into theaters. Flesh Feast was intended as a gore horror film. It's not a spoof or a comedy. At the time, low-budget horror films could potentially be very profitable. Everyone wanted to make a gore film in the 60s after Herschel Gordon Lewis got rich when he shot a film in Miami using local talent called Blood Feast. Allegedly, it only cost $24,000 to make and had sales of $4 million. Like gore, another popular theme at the time were Nazis, and there were lots of films with them, like The Madman of Mandoros, also known as They Saved Hitler's Brain. You had time-traveling Nazis, then you had frozen Nazis, and finally you end up with Love Camp 7. Grinter thinks if Herschel Gordon Lewis can make money at this game by putting out a gore film, then he can kind of up the ante and he can add in both Nazis and a famous star like Veronica Lake, and how could you lose? So did Flesh Feast make a profit? Well, this is a mystery because there's no information available on that. However, I do know the film had a theatrical release because in my movie poster collection, I have an original theater-used poster for it, and the poster was printed up by a company called National Screen Service. Getting posters from them was expensive, number one. And number two, you got a large quantity of them. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of them in different sizes. This is called a half sheet, this size. And I can't believe they would have spent the money to do that order unless the film had a widespread theatrical release. And given the fact that it cost almost nothing to make, I would assume, I can't prove, but I would assume Flesh Feast made a profit, at least for someone. The film was directed by Brad F. Grenter, who also plays the part of newspaper editor Ed Casey. Grenter became a bad film legend when he wrote, directed, and acted in the 1972 Christian anti-drug gore film Blood Freak, where a guy turns into a turkey monster. In 1975, Grenter also did a film which was very personal to him. It's called Barely Proper, about defending the right to be a nudist. The film stars Hollywood acting legend Veronica Lake as the maggot-breeding mad scientist Dr. Elaine Frederick. Lake was a major film star in the 1940s. She has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and she had affairs with a long list of famous men, including Marlon Brando and Howard Hughes. Lake had remarkable natural acting talent. As soon as she graduated from high school at age 17 in Miami, her pushy stage mother and her moved to Los Angeles and she entered acting school. But Lake didn't need acting school. She was hired almost immediately, and by the time she was 18 or 19, she was a huge star. Although talented, Lake had her issues. She had been diagnosed as schizophrenic, and over time, she became a serious alcoholic. She left Hollywood in 1952, but she continued to work after that fairly regularly on stage and in television and films right up until 1973 when she died at age 50 from complications related to alcoholism. It's too bad that she didn't live longer, because I am certain she could have joined the list of other famous alcoholic actors that continued to find work for quite some time. Flesh Feast may be a bad film, but Veronica Lake's performance, her acting performance in this film is actually quite good. And I believe that the last scene, her epic confrontation with Hitler, is the finest performance of her entire career. There's a link to the entire film in the description of this video, so why don't you watch it for yourself and then give me a comment and tell me what you think. Veronica Lake's co-star is Phil Philbin. He plays the mysterious Carl Schumann. Philbin was a durable character actor who mostly played authority figures. Nurse Christine is played by Heather Grenter. Heather was the wife of the director Brad F. Grenter, and she also appeared in his classic film Blood Freak. Veronica Lake's friend Yanka Mann plays Nurse Gail. Mann was also in the bad film classic Pagan Island. Harry Kerwin plays Nazi assassin Armando. Harry was the brother of actor William Kerwin, one of the stars of Blood Feast, that film that made all the money. Harry knew Grenter through nudism, and he directed the 1968 pro-nudist film How I Became a Nudist. The film opens with investigative reporter Dan Carter calling his boss, newspaper editor Ed Casey, to let him know that he has been following the mysterious international arms dealer Carl Schumann, and he has just landed at the Miami airport. Schumann had been smuggling arms to Fidel Castro, but now he is working on something much, much bigger. Before Carter can tell Casey that Schumann is working for the Nazis, he is killed by Armando, a Nazi assassin. Schumann is in town to visit his love interest, the mad scientist Dr. Elaine Frederick. Frederick shows Schumann her laboratory and explains that she has perfected a miraculous rejuvenation procedure using special flesh-eating maggots. The maggots somehow eat up your old person's skin and you look decades younger, and then somehow you're also rejuvenated, and that is what they're going to do to Hitler. We meet Christine, Dr. Frederick's lab assistant. Christine also steals dead bodies from the local hospital to use as maggot food. We learn that Christine is also a double agent, and she also works for newspaper editor Ed Casey. Then we meet Gail, the hard-drinking, pill-popping, and always hysterical nurse that also works for Dr. Frederick. The Nazis want to verify that the maggot procedure works before they bring in Hitler, so they test it on another top Nazi first aid person named Max Bauer. When the results are revealed, they are simply incredible. He's younger, he's been rejuvenated, and the next thing you know, Hitler himself shows up. Dr. Frederick takes Hitler to her lab and then makes sure he is tied down nice and tight. She then reveals a bad painting of her mother, and we learn that Dr. Frederick's mother was killed by the Nazis in World War II while they were experimenting with their own maggot rejuvenation procedure. To avenge her mother's death, Dr. Frederick uses special killer maggots that she's also been breeding, and as Hitler dies, Dr. Frederick gives him a salute. The end. And now, 5 reasons why this film is bad. Reason number 1 would be the laboratory and the body parts. Even by low-budget movie standards, this is a particularly pathetic laboratory for a mad scientist. The old person makeup that they use on the character Max Bauer, which they then take off to show that he's been rejuvenated, is really bad. Reason number 3 is Yonka Man's absolutely unhinged performance.
Better get her up to her room. What's the matter with her?
What's happening?
Reason number 4, the bad Hitler. It's certainly one of the worst. Reason number 5 is learning that the Nazis had their own maggot rejuvenation procedure during World War II.
That's my mother. She was at Camp Ravensbrück.
She was in the service of the Third Reich, no?
Oh, yes, she was in the service of the Third Reich. As a guinea pig for this treatment. And this one is for democracy.
Thank you very much for watching. And if you enjoyed this, then please help my channel by hitting like and subscribe. And please check back for more reviews from the Bad Movie Channel. This is J. Mike Perkins.